hard work in the trenches. But some of the things, we're going to be releasing these numbers next week officially, you know, out to the press and to the public about what these numbers have been for recently. But one of the things we want to let the communities know is that we have a blueprint here in Providence for the communities to follow to continue the decrease in this really important topic that creates lifelong problems for the people that have been poisoned. Because people don't realize that, you know, lead poisoning isn't something that you get, you cure, and you move on. Like, you know, I had pneumonia and we cured it and it was bad. The effects of it are so dramatic and lifelong. This becomes lifelong problems that don't go away and are irreversible. So we need to tackle these at those grassroots level, and that is what the City of Providence is doing. They are getting to the core problems, and they have instituted policy and programs that help stop lead poisoning from occurring. And what we need to do is get to those other communities and say, here's the blueprint. Here is the blueprint. It's working, and we've proven it, and these numbers will show.
Thank you. And that's a success story. There are so many like that, in fact, and that we could use. One other example that I think about, we talked about the social and environmental determinants of health, and but in public health we usually do not address the social and environmental determinants of health. Most of the time our traditional approach has been telling people what to do. We all know about the public health campaigns that we've done in the past. We tell people how many fruits and vegetables should eat every day. We tell people not to smoke because it's bad. But we know that that doesn't really work. People do not smoke because they don't know better. People do not drink soda because they do not know better. So we've tried at the Department of Health to really also change how we engage with our community partners and try to fund them not to do those traditional things, tell people what to do, but to really look at within themselves, within their community, and try to learn from what they know better, having the community define themselves, their issues, their problems, and come up with solutions. And I was trying to look around to see if Nancy was still here, but I don't see her. Did she left? Oh, she's right here. I'm sorry. I am looking at the wrong side. And I wanted to turn to Nancy because Nancy and LISC have been a critical partner in this state, truly learning about community engagement, about community development, and working with communities to come up with solutions that work. So do you want to tell people a little about the work that LISC is doing and how does it connect back with this conversation around building communities, building connections within the community in ways that are important and meaningful?
Sure. I don't know if I need the, do I need the mic? No. Okay. Do I need the mic? No. So I think that what's for us and what's really exciting is the partnership that we've been able to develop with the Department of Health around this. But what LISC has been able to do, we kind of had a philosophical shift where we realized that the neighborhood is what we need to do. Historically, we helped build affordable housing, but you could build it and build it and build it, but it didn't change the neighborhood necessarily. So we looked at the neighborhood as our partner, and how do we then go about really engaging the neighborhood. And we developed this deep resident engagement process that we do. We partner with the folks in the neighborhood. We do not come in and do it ourselves. We're not of and we are not part of the neighborhood. But we help to fund and work with them as a partner. And to develop what it is that the neighborhood needs in order to make itself better. What do the residents want? What do they need? Because what you have in the neighborhood, when you talked about, when you lived there, what you talked about, the incredible assets and the incredible positive things that are in the neighborhood get way overshadowed and way put down by the negative stuff of not being able to walk down the street or not being able for your kid to go out and run in the yard or run in the park. And so we've developed this and we engage in the neighborhood and we come up with what the residents want to do, and these community contracts are created. And the residents and the organizations and our partners all take a part of that, and only something that somebody says, we're gonna make this happen, gets put in the contract, and we all try to find the resources and able to do that. And what we found that happens with this is, people get excited about it, because as we do this process, there's little wins, there's little things that happen. People want to be part of it. Agencies want to be part of it. Other people want to be part of it. So you get this platform of the neighborhood, and it just explodes. And things really happen, and good things get created, and other resources come in. And hopefully, as we will see in, not next year, not the year after, but hopefully, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, things really do change. And what really does change is the education changes, the safety changes, the green space and the parks change, and people really start to be able to live in their neighborhoods and not be afraid of their neighborhoods. And I think that that's what we have found. It's this place-based work, because things happen in place-based, the connections get made of people that live in neighborhoods together, and that's what makes them change, and that's what makes them grow.
So I wanted to ask you all, if there's, in the work that you do, if you think about work that you're currently doing and work that you could possibly be doing, are you working focusing on those social and environmental determinants? Are you working trying to build partnerships within the places where you have influence? Because the reason I'm asking the question, if you think about those issues that Nancy brought up, that the play showed us, or that Neil, I'm just reading the name, talked about choosing to move to the suburbs and so forth. The issues that they're talking about, housing policies, school policies, transportation policies, that is not one agency problem. And so we really need to work together through collaboratives and through partnerships to be able to impact at that level. One single agency has no success. And so I would love to hear from you. That side of the room has not talked that much. I don't want to put no one on the spot. But to hear from you, what kind of work are you doing that you think connects back to this kind of agenda of working at the community level, engaging with the community to address those social, cultural, ethnical, linguistic, housing issues that we are talking about that impact health? No one? Yes. I go back. I want that side to talk.
This is from the YW in Woonsocket, where we began it on Cato Street with List. And what we did is about 6 years ago to 7 years ago, after seeing uncommon causes, and we actually had forums at the YW in Woonsocket to bring in the community of all different types of organizations, faith-based, politicians, anybody to be able to see the changes. Because we became very concerned where, when we know someone's zip code, we can tell how healthy that individual is. And so part of that, and we're now trying to get into the Central Falls area to be able to do it. And it's part of it, we've seen some little positive things. I wish I could say we're so much all healthier, but I think it's a beginning. And I have to say, when we did begin it, it wasn't really a topic of conversation in the community. And even in the YW in Central Falls in '95, it actually was February of '96, it was the first multicultural outreach team that we ever had. We had a Cape Verdean woman and African American women and Latino woman to be able to do outreach into the community, which we've kept and we've duplicated it. And I think it's really where the YW being the type of organization, it's from that mindset. As you say, Anna, it's, I learned a long time ago that if I knock at the door and say Joyce from the Department of Health, they're not going to open it. I'm sorry. But if I knock on the door and say it's Joyce from the YW, because they hear the YW, they open it. And that's where I think from the community aspect of it, and I know Department of Health and others have heard me whine about this for years, that's where we're going to make the difference. And it's been 20 years we've been trying to do some of this stuff, and I don't want to get frustrated because I think we really can't do this on it. And I think our state is so small that this is a state we can, even on a national level, for something else similar but different, palliative care bill. We're the first state to have it in our state, and we're the first state to have our 2 senators sign on for it, for a federal, which will help everybody across their zip code, you know, if that's the issue. And I think we have to just keep plugging at it.
Thank you, Joyce. Joyce has been a long-time partner from early days in the Department of Health. And you do bring up something that is indeed true. How do you engage? How do you knock at that door? I say also lots of times, my grandmother used to tell me, you need to be polite and wait to be invited to someone's home or to someone's table. And you need to knock at the door before you come in. And so I always did that. But she also told me, but if at times you truly believe that you need to be at that table, you truly believe that you belong to that table, even if you're not invited, then you just crash the door and you come in. So if I say no to you, just crash that door if you think you belong. Laura, you had your hands up.
Sure, if that's okay. And I'm going to remember that advice. Some of you may already know me. My name's Laura Bryan, and I work for the Childhood Lead Action Project. If you're not familiar with us already, we're a nonprofit based here in Providence. We work statewide. Our mission is to eliminate childhood lead poisoning in Rhode Island, so it's completely connected with the issue of housing and community and injustice. And so the way that we work on this, as an example, is our goal is to bring together people who are affected by the issue of lead poisoning directly and who are concerned about this issue in their own community to strategize together, to take collective action, to effectively make a policy change or to shift the balance of power in society in some way so that people are no longer lead poisoned. Obviously it is incremental in some ways, but we're very happy to hear about the progress in Providence, very proud of what many partners have done. In particular, we think the issue of tenants' right to live in a place that's safe and has a lead certificate and is lead safe is kind of a missing link. So if anybody is interested in working with us on that advocacy, we'd love to have you join us. There's no shortage of things that we would love new activists for. And maybe you know of some things, some policy issues in the area of lead poisoning that you should bring to our attention and start a campaign together.
Thank you, Laura. I just want to say thank you. They need to leave, so I wanted to say thank you to them and give them a huge round of applause before they leave. So thank you very much for everything. And as they leave, so thank you, I just wanted to also say something. You okay?
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to say something.
No, I don't have to say anything else except thank you. Thank you.